What's up guys, Houndish here with a few Destiny 2 things to talk about. I've got a couple of light news things I wanted to mention, including stuff about faction tokens, a PC hotfix, and the Clarion call event which we'll be seeing in November. On top of this though, I wanted to point out a couple of things about the Curse of Osiris that we can learn from looking at some of the gameplay we've seen, and this includes new Vanguard weapons as well as some armor ornaments, and a couple of other things, so let's get into it. Firstly, I wanted to point out a couple of things about faction tokens. Previously, Bungie did confirm that faction tokens should be spent during the Victory Week, which is the week that follows the faction rally, otherwise they will actually disappear from your inventory. And of course, after the faction rally, they've continued to drop randomly through some of the Ghost Shell perks and things like that. And I have had a few comments recently where people have said they've been kind of saving faction tokens, but today a number of users reported that their faction tokens have now actually been cleared from their inventory, and I can also attest that I had a couple which had dropped randomly since the last event, which have also vanished from my inventory. So faction tokens, if you've been stacking them up, it looks like they've actually been cleared completely, and obviously this is in preparation for the event starting this week. So of course, if you did save a bunch of tokens, that's pretty bad news, but I wanted to point it out in this video so you guys know what's going on and everything like that. But before I mention anything else in this video, there will be a hotfix for the PC version of the game today, and Bungie say this is to fix some of the stuttering issues and some of the kind of frame lockups that people have been experiencing since the last patch. So all being well, that will be fixed today, and hopefully we won't have any other issues, so we can expect hotfix 1.0.6.2 today on the PC, but for PlayStation and Xbox One, they will not be receiving this patch. But back onto the subject of tokens briefly, of course, them clearing out faction tokens and things like that raises the question, is token hoarding worthwhile? Because of course, they may well be cleared between seasons, between DLC drops. And I was thinking the other day, of course, if they don't add brand new gear and they rely mostly on ornaments and things like that, then we won't necessarily actually see those tokens disappear. But I noticed something I haven't heard anyone speak about inside of the B-roll gameplay for the Osiris trailer. So you can see this hunter actually has an Omelon auto rifle, just like Uriel's gift, but it does have the Vanguard icons on it. So this is actually a new Vanguard weapon that'll be dropping inside of Season 2 and Curse of Osiris. And this confirms that there will indeed be some new inventory, at least for things like the Vanguard. So obviously it's good in itself that they are actually bringing in new weapons to Vanguard and Crucible, hopefully, but it also indicates that there is a risk in hoarding any tokens. You know, if you don't plan on spending them before the expansion drops, they could actually be cleared out. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely worth taking note of. But while we're on the subject of Vanguard weapons, there are a couple of other interesting things inside of the Curse of Osiris gameplay. So we see this new shotgun in the trailer, and this comes with Rampage, which is pretty cool. But something interesting to point out, if you look at the ammo inventory in this first clip, it cuts to a kind of clip of the hunter sliding right there, and when it comes back in, they actually have 6 rounds in the magazine as well as 1 in reserve. I thought that was interesting to point out because I'd seen some people speculating that maybe, you know, this was a new perk or something crazy like that, but equally it could just be a kind of continuity error while they were capturing this gameplay. Something else interesting to point out in the gameplay for Curse of Osiris, we see this Titan right here at the end of the trailer, and I'm pretty sure they're wearing some of the new ornamented gear for Season 2, so this is actually very similar to the Phoenix Strive Type O helmet for the Titan. And the other day I mentioned that someone had posted to Reddit they'd seen some of the new ornaments while demoing the new Crucible map at Paris Games Week, and one of the ornaments had the description, defeat enemies in the Crucible during Season 2 to unlock this ornament, and it basically listed all of the Crucible armor sets, including the Phoenix Strive Type O, which is the same as what we've just seen right here. So that's an example of how some of the new ornaments will be applied for all of the Crucible gear. You'll be able to earn new ornaments by playing Crucible, and I'm pretty sure we'll see that, you know, with Vanguard and other types of gear as well, hopefully. And obviously it's only a small and cosmetic addition, but it is a more horizontal progression to the game that we'll see inside of this expansion. So if they continue down that path, I think they can definitely improve progression in the game. But like I said, it looks like that helmet has new Crucible specific ornaments that will come in this expansion. Another interesting thing which Unknown Player pointed out is that we see this pulse rifle in the clip right here, and it has a very similar model to the No Time to Explain pulse rifle. We can tell it's a pulse because of the icon on the hood right there. And obviously this is a kinetic weapon, but in some of the other screenshots for Curse of Osiris, we see a Warlock holding a different pulse rifle that also fits into this kind of set of themed weapons we've seen in the trailers. So obviously there's a level of speculation about whether one could be an exotic. Obviously the No Time to Explain one is very similar to a previous exotic we've seen in the game, although my bet personally is that we will see both kinetic and energy variants of weapons, and sometimes, you know, that may mean 2 pulse rifles inside of a set. And Bungie also kind of backed this idea up inside of their Season 2 reveal stream when they said that they wanted to have both energy and kinetic hand cannons for the Iron Banner. That was just an example, but they want to flesh out the kind of weapon arsenal and potentially have 2 of one type of weapon inside of a set, one kinetic and one energy. So that's pretty interesting to point out. Moving on, I wanted to briefly talk about the Clarion Call event. So it's a new type of double XP event for the game, which we did hear about in the Season 2 reveal. One thing which kind of flew under the radar a little bit is that they've confirmed this will debut before Season 2. So essentially within 2 or 3 weeks of now, we will get our first Clarion Call double XP event. So inside of the event, you will earn double XP in all activities. On top of this though, it will be a clan collaboration event. So essentially it'll work when you're playing with your clan members. They did add though that they want to try different things and it won't always be about, playing with your clan to earn double XP. The important thing though is that within 2 or 3 weeks of now, we will see this first event. And I think the idea behind this event, seeing as it's double XP, is primarily that it's going to earn you things like bright engrams, and of course the stock inside of these engrams will completely refresh for Season 2. So if you're after particular exotic emotes or ships or things like that, essentially they're putting this event in to earn you more bright engrams before this stuff resets and becomes more difficult to obtain. Generally they do give us a way to earn some of the older kind of Eververse stuff, and I'm assuming that will probably happen here as well, but of course it only gets more difficult when those pieces of content aren't in the kind of primary rotation for gear. So look out for more info on the Clarion Call in the next week or so. One last thing I wanted to point out pertains to the legendary strange coin, which has been in the database since D2 dropped. You guys may have heard of this already, but they recently added a description for this item. This didn't arrive until a recent patch, but the display source says obtained from special online events and offerings. And that's something we didn't know about this particular item before, so it will be tied to one of the events that comes in the game, and it's looking possible that it could actually be for the Clarion Call. So Spiffomatic, who's posted a whole bunch of stuff that's been found in the API recently, posted a while back that essentially everything from Eververse was in an alternate category for Xur. So essentially Xur has a hidden additional inventory, and it appears that all of these items are within there. So it seems possible that the strange coin could be something that would drop in the Clarion Call event and offer you an additional chance at earning, Eververse shaders, ships, sparrows, exotic emotes, whatever it is, but actually to earn them from Xur instead. And of course this would make sense if they were trying to give people opportunity to get those items before they're taken out of the rotation. The key thing though is that the special events description has been added to the item recently, so it's clearly an item that is intended to be used probably some point in the near future, considering they're actually modifying these items in the database. Anyway guys, there we go, a whole bunch of different stuff inside of this video. Before I go though, I wanted to give a shout out to my friends at Gamerlink. Gamerlink is a free Android and iOS LFG app, which is particularly geared towards finding like-minded players and forming persistent groups and clans. It's got a whole bunch of cool clan management features, so you can keep in touch with your clan via the app and everything like that. And you can also meet new people and look for people to run activities, and Destiny is featured on the site as well. So it's a really neat app. I definitely recommend that you guys check it out, and the link will be in the description below. For now though, I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of the stuff we touched on in this video. If you did enjoy the video, a like really helps me out on the channel. And if you're new around here, feel free to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny 2 content. For now though, I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you have an awesome day.